Hello my dear friends and welcome back to another Star Wars video. So today we have a couple of Ahsoka Season 2 updates. Filming is already taking place here in the UK, the show doesn't drop until 2026, there's the Mandalorian and Grogu movie coming first, so we're probably not going to get anything too substantial for quite some time. That being said, we will take any breadcrumbs we can get. We had some awesome concept art at Star Wars Celebration, some comments from the new Balon, Roy McCann, and today my friends, we have a tease from Ivanna Sakhno, Shin Hati, one of the most captivating villains of the Disney Star Wars era. And the actress has been doing a press tour, not for Ahsoka, but for Megan 2.0. And I know what you're thinking, but no, it's not the name of my second channel, and it has nothing to do with me. But after Ivanna was asked about her role in Megan, and that sounds very weird to say by the way, she was asked about Ahsoka Season 2. And that's just the way it goes with Star Wars actors. No matter what else they're in, they're going to be asked about the galaxy far, far away. And while she can reveal too much, we know she's already filmed a couple of scenes, and she seems so enthusiastic. Speaking to comicbook.com, she said, "I really wish I could share something with you, but I have to be honest, you won't get anything from me. A lot of heart is being put into it. And here's the big part, we're trying to honor the world and the story as much as possible, and we have some really cool fights coming up. Hopefully." Obviously, she cannot say too much about this, but what we did garner from the concept art shown by Dave Filoni at Celebration in Japan, big spoiler warning my friends, Shin is going to fight Huyang. That's right, now that she's been abandoned by Balon, now that Shin is joined up with the bandits, she's in survival mode on Peridia. And while we have no idea if she will eventually team up with Ahsoka and Sabine, it seems like they're going to remain adversaries. And Huyang turns into freaking General Grievous, multiple lightsabers in his many hands, and we all know how much Dave Filoni loves a visual reference, so that's definitely a callback to Revenge of the Sith. But Huyang goes Grievous up against Shin Hati, and I think it stands to reason there'll also be a rematch between Shin and Sabine. Sabine this time may be more advanced in her lightsaber skills, reconnected to the Force, and under the tutelage of Ahsoka Tano once more. So it's going to be different, and we know they're filming the Peridia scenes on location, so visually speaking it's going to be a much more impressive season. They also got the cinematographer from the Netflix show Wednesday, so if you're talking about creepiness, Dathomir, the Grey Mothers, a more vibrant colour palette, Season 2 might be quite an interesting creative departure from the first season, and I see that as a win. However my friends, we are still without an official release date. My prediction, if The Mandalorian and Grogu is coming first in May of 2026, Ahsoka Season 2 will follow a similar pattern to the first, releasing sometime in August or September. If there are delays in production, which has been a trend with Lucasfilm, then maybe it gets pushed to December, a festive release like Skeleton Crew. Now just before we talk about our second Ahsoka update, I want to give you a little nugget, a bit of hope for The Mandalorian and Grogu, and make you realize just how close our first look really is. So Empire magazine released their world exclusive first look at Avatar 3. Avatar Fire and Ash releases on the 19th of December, and now we have some new stills and some new information. The marketing campaign has officially begun 6 months out from release. If this is the way Disney and Empire magazine are doing things, if this is the model for big blockbusters, then using the same maths, I reckon they're going to release the first look at the Mandalorian movie sometime this coming winter. If it's coming in May 2026, and using the 6 months as a good buffer between first look and official release, then we might get our first posters, photos, and interviews with the cast this coming November. But because it's Star Wars, and because there hasn't been a Star Wars movie since The Rise of Skywalker in 2019, then they might begin the marketing campaign even earlier, maybe sometime in September. So we could just be a couple of months away from our first official Star Wars movie teaser in years. How exciting. And so now, on to another Ahsoka update. So, as I've said, principal photography has already begun, and we've heard so many rumors. The possibility of Tamara Morrison returning as Captain Rex, more Clone Wars flashbacks with Ariana Greenblatt, Hayden Christensen, this time we might even have Ewan McGregor and Natalie Portman. But now we have another development, one which might solidify that we are getting more Clone Wars flashbacks. Ariana Greenblatt was spotted supporting Rachel Zegler's new play here in London. Now, it could just be that they're good friends, but isn't it a bit coincidental that Ahsoka is filming at the moment? And multiple Ahsoka actors have been confirmed to be here in the UK. I wouldn't be surprised if one of the reasons is to film some of those flashbacks. And I want to ask you guys in the comments, this is the question of the day. What kind of flashbacks do you want to see in Ahsoka Season 2? There have been some rumblings of the Mortis arc getting a live-action rendition, so that could be the way Ewan McGregor features. We literally see Ahsoka, Anakin, and Obi-Wan crash landing on Mortis, falling asleep, waking up not knowing what happened, being guided by the daughter, and this would be such a cool addition because you kill two birds with one stone. You help fans who didn't see the Clone Wars understand the statues that Baylan was standing on, and for those of us who watched the Mortis arc, seeing it unfold in live action as a kind of recap, making it feel more real and connected to the live action content, that is just a delicious cherry on top. But if you had to choose a battle, if you had to choose a moment from the animated show that would work in live action, that contributes to the story of Season 2 without being too fanservice-y, what would you choose? I've seen many fans say Ahsoka versus Maul from Season 7, but with Maul dead at this point, I wouldn't see the purpose of them doing this, unless, and this was one of the crazier theories I've heard, what's in Thrawn's catacombs are Maul clones. Maybe the Great Mothers are connected in some way to Talzin, because they had her sword, and maybe they heard the legends of Maul and Savage Opress, and maybe they want an entire army of warrior Mauls. In that case, you could show a flashback, but then again, Ahsoka doesn't have to deal with Thrawn at the moment. She was left stranded on Peridea. Thrawn and the Great Mothers are back in the known galaxy on Dathomir, so for now, Ahsoka's biggest threat is Baylan. And I'm telling you guys, by time Ahsoka Season 2 rolls around, I really believe it's going to get better viewership than the first season. If The Mandalorian and Grogu does well and appeals to a wide audience, the hype could be off the charts. And they could use the end of the movie, maybe in a post-credit scene, to market Season 2. Because by then, with Andor being the last TV show we remember, and with The Mandalorian and Grogu, which I don't think is going to have too many lightsabers in it, we might be craving something more Force-related. So with Clone Wars flashbacks, with an Ezra fight scene rumoured for Season 2 Episode 1, the Mortis gods, maybe Obi-Wan in flashbacks, it could really scratch that itch. But I understand there are concerns about fan service. Is it going to go too far? Well, that's why characters like Shin and Baylan, who are new additions, are probably the most exciting characters in this show, because we have no idea where they're going and their purpose in Season 2. There's a plethora of theories, but no one knows for certain. But with that said, my dear friends, I'm also looking forward to Megan 2.0. I'm a big fan of Ivanna Sakhno, really curious to see her performance as the android called Amelia, and it gives us an idea of her acting skills in 2025. She really is amazing, and let me know if you've already seen Megan 2.0. Is it as good as Star Wars Meg? I really doubt it. Can you really beat your galactic hostess? I don't think so. I'm just being silly, my friends. Hope you enjoyed this video though, and if you did, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, check me out on socials, and may the Force be with you, always.